that overlaps my riding in Dutchess. Looking forward to seeing everybody at the intermunicipal meeting that we're going to have in the fall. I've been told that Brooks is here. But Brooks, I knew I'd hear them. Bassano and Rosemary, you guys are doing such amazing work, and I know that a few of the county council members are here as well. So thank you all for being here in Calgary. I don't recall the last time you were in Calgary. Is this an unusual event? Normally we see you in Edmonton, but we're very glad you were able to make it down here for your fall convention. And it is nice to see the representatives from the legislature as well. Alberta municipalities and the municipal governments represented here, you are such important partners for our government, and this is a perfect moment for us to reflect on the past year in Alberta, to look ahead to what's next, as we work together to continue to build this absolutely amazing province. And there is a lot to say on both counts, but I do want to start by thanking every single municipality here for running an orderly and well-organized election a couple of weeks ago. These were the first local elections under the new rules, and I'm very grateful to all of you for your seamless implementation of changes and for operating an election process that was secure. Because when Albertans show up at the polls for a municipal election, they're voting for people who will have a significant impact on their everyday lives. Decisions, of course, taken by municipal councils impact their daily commute, impacts their monthly bills, and impacts their quality of life year after year. And of course, that's a big responsibility. And I commend all of you for stepping up to serve your communities in this capacity. I also want to congratulate those of you who are newly elected. Welcome to one of the most rewarding and challenging jobs you will ever hold. And I do wish you success as you enter public service. Our government, of course, relies on Alberta municipalities to get new municipal officials up to speed, and let me tell you, you do a great job of it, as I'm sure you will find out during this convention. This collaboration reflects the close partnership the provincial government shares with municipalities. There is no way we could govern effectively without that ongoing support and local focus, as well as the robust two-way dialogue between our levels of government. We collaborate on everything from public safety to water management to keeping Alberta rat-free. Working together, we ensure that life in this province is good for everyone who lives here. And that's a big job, but Albertans deserve nothing less from us. So thank you for everything that you do for your communities and for our province. Our government is, of course, a few weeks into the fall legislative session and a few years into our mandate, and we felt it was the right time to highlight our priorities and to reaffirm our vision for Alberta with a new speech from the throne. For our fall legislative agenda, we're focusing on cutting red tape, on modernizing our water system, on making it easier for professionals to work in Alberta, and establishing the Alberta Sheriff's Police Service. Ahead of the fall session in September, I sent to each of my cabinet colleagues new mandate letters with clear directions aimed at enhancing services for Albertans. I'd invite you all to take a look at what is contained in those mandate letters. We're laying the foundations for a prosperous future and overcoming some of the biggest challenges we're facing currently as a province. So let's talk about those challenges. Sometime this past year, we don't know exactly when, Alberta notched a significant milestone when our population edged over the 5 million mark. Now, of course, this won't be news to any of you. Alberta has been growing at a staggering rate for a good few years now, with people coming from other parts of Canada and other parts of the world in search of opportunities and the quality of life that we are so famous for. Now, growth like this is broadly a very good thing, and we can't complain too much about it. It expands our tax base, it increases our standing within Confederation, and it strengthens our provincial economy. But of course, in the short term, it also brings with us growing pains, placing major strain on our infrastructure and our public services. And there is no doubt that many of these pains are felt most acutely at the municipal level. That's why this past year we had the largest infrastructure budget in provincial history. We're twinning, expanding, and paving roads in every corner of the province. I think Devin Dreescher, our transportation minister, is managing something like 161 different project requests. Where there weren't roads, we're building them. We're expanding water facilities and other utilities and investing billions in new healthcare infrastructure. To absorb and moderate this growth, our government is investing $8.6 billion to open up 200,000 new school spaces in communities across the province in the coming years. We are also hiring thousands of new teachers and educational assistants over the next 3 years. We're investing in Alberta's post-secondary education system to ensure that young people get the training and skills that they need and the good careers that are available in our economy. We are working with Alberta businesses to get more young people out there in the workforce. In September, you may have seen, we announced the Alberta Youth Employment Incentive to help offset the training and hiring costs of Albertans between the age of 15 and 24 by subsidizing the cost of hiring those young people by $10 an hour. And we also continue to reform Alberta's healthcare system. Though the work is far from finished, we are seeing positive results, with wait times for surgeries coming down, the number of nurses and doctors increasing, including nurse practitioners increasingly who are servicing our local communities, as well as less money being spent on bureaucracy and more being spent on front lines, which is exactly where it should be. And we're continuing to invest in critical infrastructure. That includes the Deerfoot Trail expansion in Calgary, the Yellowhead in Edmonton, and improvements to a number of important highways in central and northern Alberta. And these projects will progress towards completion, and we'll have a lot more to announce in the budget next year when it comes out in February. Rapid population growth has also strained the availability of housing in Alberta, and that's an issue in many communities and in provinces across Canada. Yet, for the second straight year, Alberta is leading the country in housing starts, and it is amazing. Practically the whole country is in the grips of a housing crisis. But here in Alberta, we're making serious progress on overcoming it. And a big part of the credit goes to our municipalities for showing flexibility, for speeding up approvals, and for being part of the solution rather than an additional source of delay and cost overruns. And I can't thank you enough for that. Alberta has emerged as a shining example for the rest of Canada of what is possible when faced with a challenge like this housing crisis. But the biggest challenge that we've been facing concerns our relationship with our biggest trading partner and the tariffs that the United States has threatened and imposed on Canadian producers. This has dominated headlines all across the country all year long, and it's presented Canadians with serious uncertainty for the future. One of the best ways Canada can future-proof its economy is by tapping into the most valuable asset on our national balance sheet, and that is Alberta's enormous energy reserves. Our energy has given our province and the rest of Canada so much economic strength over the years, and we know that the world needs more Alberta energy, and not less, and that, of course, includes the United States. Between the rapid development in technology, the rise of developing nations, and the costly lessons of deindustrialization in advanced economies, it is clear that the world is going to need all of the energy that it can get as we move into the future. Our trading partners and future customers are scrambling to secure abundant supplies of it, and they're looking to do so responsibly. Alberta has plenty of responsible energy to offer anyone who wants it, and that's a compelling pitch in a changing world. And we think it's Canada's best chance for strength and prosperity. Now, we have two orders of government here in this room today, and if it were only up to us, Alberta's energy industry would be rocking and rolling like never before. But, of course, there is another level of government over there in Ottawa, and they've sadly worked against our interests for almost a solid decade. It's only recently, during this moment of national soul-searching, that we've seen any change in Ottawa's outright hostility towards oil and gas. So if there has been one upside to all of this uncertainty we've experienced lately, it's that 2025 was the year that we successfully drove back the anti-energy movement in Canada, and we changed the conversation. For the first time in a long time, more and more Canadians see energy exports the same way that Albertans do, as our nation's surest path to a stable and prosperous future. And we intend to seize this moment for the good of Alberta and for the good of the rest of Canada. Now, there is there is a lot for us to do. We're working to get pipelines and economic corridors built to the northeast BC coast, to Hudson Bay, as well as to Ontario. We're forging relationships and signing deals with new overseas trading partners. And we're in the midst of negotiations with the federal government on an MOU that includes the removal, carve-out, or overhaul of the bad laws chasing away private investment in our energy sector, and an agreement to work towards the ultimate approval of an Alberta to BC bitumen pipeline, as well as the Pathways project. And I am cautiously optimistic on the progress that we've been able to make on that front. We're also working to attract investment and grow our economy in other areas as well. We want to work with Alberta's municipalities to attract as much job-creating investment as possible. You know your own strengths, and you know what you need to do to drive economic growth. So let us know how we can be a partner with you to get approvals done quickly and to get the shovels in the ground as soon as possible. Because there is so much potential here for growth and diversification, like hydrogen and clean energy, agriculture and ranching, tourism and creative industries like film and television, and artificial intelligence. We have long been a leader in artificial intelligence, and we intend to keep it that way. We are expanding on that leadership with our AI data center strategy to capitalize on the enormous opportunities that are before us. AI data centers will create new revenue streams for local governments and help grow Alberta's burgeoning tech sector. We also have tremendous technical expertise and a highly educated population. Work is being done now to position Alberta as an AI superpower, and we are excited about what lies ahead. And I know that many of you are looking at data center projects and deciding whether they're the best for your communities. Many of you have already approved exciting investments. And ultimately, any short-term uncertainty and beyond the challenges we're currently facing, I'm as optimistic as I've ever been about Alberta's future. We have so many advantages on our side. Natural resources and mineral reserves that rank among the world's largest, a mindset that is pro-growth, pro-business, and enthusiastically entrepreneurial, a very long track record of economic success, along with rising ambitions for the future, and of course, we have welcoming and well-run municipalities in every reach and corner of this province, and an unrivaled quality of life. And with assets like this, I would bet on Alberta any day of the week. So thank you for everything you do to make this province such an incredible place to live. I hope that the rest of the convention is productive and inspiring, and I do wish you the best as we move into the holiday season. And for now, I'm looking forward to being on the hot seat and taking your questions. So thanks for having me here today. Oh, we're doing there. Oh, okay, let's do it.
Thank you for those words, Premier. I'll invite people to head to the microphones. There's 4 in the room there. And while we're waiting for them, I'm going to take my seat and kick things off with a question. So, come here. Yes, we're good. Okay. I feel like we need a fireplace on one of these screens down there.
You're really cozy. You should get that next time.
Yeah. So I'm going to kick things off with a question that was pre-submitted by one of our members. Premier, community safety is a concern, but so are policing costs. Is your government open to working with municipalities on increasing investment, preventative social services, so that we can bend the cost curve of justice, addiction and policing?
I would say yes on all fronts. One of the things that emerged post-COVID was a very serious opioid crisis. And what we've been aiming to do is to try to watch the level of overdoses go down to the level that they were pre-COVID, and we've succeeded in most municipalities in doing that. And part of the way that we've done it is by investing in what we call our recovery-oriented system of care. It began with having the virtual opioid dependency program so that we could give Suboxone or Sublocade as a replacement for opioids. I think we have over 8,000 people who've gone onto that program. We also took off the fees that were being charged for addiction treatment beds and started building a lot more. So when we're done, we will have 11 recovery communities. We've opened one in Calgary, one in Gunn, we've opened one in Red Deer, and another in Lethbridge. We've got 5 that we're opening in partnership with First Nations and Métis, and so those will be online in the coming years. In addition to that, we started working by implementing what we call therapeutic living units within our corrections facilities. And so we've got 4 of them, and the inmates apply to be in the program. And I had an opportunity to participate in group in the Red Deer facility. And I can tell you, it is like watching a light come on when these guys realize that we're investing in them and we want them to do well and we're rooting for them. And then when they leave, they go to a recovery community, and then they have 6 months to a year to stay, reestablish their relationships, get some job skills, and ultimately get attached to a job. And we've started to see the real impact of all of these different efforts that we've taken. So we now, year over year, I think we're down 40% on opioid overdoses. And in that program I was talking about in particular, because we have a year worth of data and coming out of the therapeutic living units, we've seen a 51% decrease in overdose deaths. So we know that this is working, that this is the path. We doubly know it because we're seeing it being adopted in other jurisdictions, like in British Columbia, like in Ontario, and like most recently in Manitoba. So the next phase of this is going to be compassionate intervention, where those who are causing harm to themselves or others are going to be ordered into treatment for 3 to 4 months so that we can get them clear thinking and hopefully get them onto a pathway of permanent recovery. When I met with the Prime Minister, they indicated that they were interested in adopting a pilot program for our therapeutic living units in the federal penitentiaries, so that also expands our ability to be able to help those who are most at risk. And so that is an entire side of treating an addict as a victim, and that's part of the reason why we know that these guys are just as much a victim as of organized crime and gangs as the general community. There is also a policing response that we need to do, but we think that that kind of robust approach that we're taking to deal with the very serious challenges of addiction are going to make a huge difference in communities. I should mention one more thing. Sorry, I know it's a long answer, because we are looking to figure out how to take our successful model of the Navigation Centre. This is something that Dale McPhee, when he was chief of police, worked with Jason Nixon and Mike Ellis and a few of my other ministers. One of the things we discovered is that we were asking those who were living on the street to go to like 10 different places to get the services that they needed. So what we did instead was, as we were clearing encampments, we make sure that we've got enough shelter space in Edmonton. We made sure that at this Navigation Centre, we had the ability for them to detox on site and stay overnight if need be, to get ID, to be able to get connected with healthcare if they needed it, get connected with social supports if they needed it, with shelter, with housing, with income support. And my last look at that, I think over 4,000 people have gone through the Edmonton Centre. We opened up one in Calgary, and we're looking at ways to partner with communities to see how we can extend this Navigation Centre model to make it work in mid-sized communities. I don't know that we've mastered it yet. Justin Wright is probably the furthest ahead on this in Medicine Hat. But if you have some thoughts about how we could create a similar type of program in the communities where you're most at need, we're very open to partnering with the local community groups as opposed to just imposing a model that works in the big cities. We know we have to be a bit more flexible to see how it will work in the mid-sized communities, but we're pretty encouraged by what we're seeing so far.
Thank you. I'm going to start at microphone 1. Do you want to your name and your municipality and your question, please?
Sure. Don Scott, Fort McMurray, Wood Buffalo. And Premier, thank you for standing up for Alberta. We are so grateful in many parts of Alberta.
Well, thank you for generating so much revenue that supports the growth of our province. Feelings mutual. We're very grateful to you as well.
Well, speaking of that, Ottawa has not been our friend for a very long time, and I know that you've been vigorously fighting for Alberta. Are you optimistic that this direction we're currently going is actually going to make a difference? Because we are ready for growth and explosive growth, but it feels like Ottawa has been holding us back for way too long.
One of the things I was so encouraged to see, less than a week ago, I think, was Enbridge announced that they want to do a 400,000 barrel a day expansion on their main line. Trans Mountain wants to do a similar expansion to optimize their line. South Bow is looking at using the old Keystone assets for, I think, a 650,000 barrel line, and there's a couple of other projects. And CNRL has also announced that they're dusting off some of their old plans to, I think, increase their production 350,000 barrels as well. That is all, I think, a very strong indicator of the optimism that people have. And are we going to get to the finish line on an MOU? We'll know in a few more days. I'm very hopeful. I think if you watch the Prime Minister when he announced his major projects list today, he is also encouraged. We've made a lot of progress. We've been going back and forth on an MOU every day, I think, as we're getting the final wording. And I'm really hopeful that we'll have something more to say about that in a few days.